India's economic growth slowed sharply in the second quarter of this financial year, spanning June to September 2024, with growth in GDP coming at a near two-year low of 5.4%. This is significantly slower than the 7% growth the RBI had predicted as recently as October. This is also far slower than the 6.5% that a lot of private sector agencies were predicting. This slowdown in growth compounds a lower than expected growth of 6.7% in Q1. The RBI had predicted 7.2% for that quarter, and it only came in at 6.7%. This also means that GDP growth in the first 6 months of this financial year has slowed to 6.2%, the slowest since the pandemic year of 2020-21. The Q2 growth was pulled down by a slowdown in the secondary sector, comprising manufacturing, construction, and electricity, gas, and other utilities. Both agriculture and services grew faster in Q2 of this financial year than they did in the same quarter of last year. Growth in the manufacturing sector slowed sharply to just 2.2% in Q2 of this financial year, down from 7% in Q1 and 14.3% in Q2 of last year. This has meant the sector's growth in the first half of this financial year has slowed to 4.5% as compared to 9.6% in the first half of last financial year. Economists are putting this down to a weakness in demand in the economy, especially urban demand, which could also be seen in the weak corporate results in Q2, especially in the FMCG sector. The construction sector, which has so far been resilient to the overall slowdown in the economy, has also shown signs of weakness in Q2. The sector grew 7.7% in the second quarter of this financial year, which would seem relatively robust except when compared to its 10.5% growth in Q1 and 13.6% growth in Q2 of last year. Still, the sector grew by a robust 9.1% in the first half of this financial year, although even this is somewhat slower than the 11% seen in the same period of last year. The electricity, gas, water supply, and other utility services that saw growth slowing sharply to 3.3% in Q2 from 10.4% in Q1 and 10.5% in Q2 of last year. The agriculture sector, on the other hand, was a positive surprise, with growth quickening to 3.5% in Q2, up from 2% in Q1 and 1.7% in Q2 of last year. Over the first half of the year, the agriculture sector grew 2.7% as compared to 2.8% in the first half of the last year. The overall primary sector, taking agriculture and mining together, grew by 3% in Q2, faster than 2.7% in Q1 and 2.9% in Q2 of last year. The services sector did relatively well too. The overall tertiary sector, which captures the various services sectors, grew by 7.1% in Q2 of this financial year, significantly faster than the 6% in Q2 of the previous financial year. But on that note, that's all from me. Thank you so much for watching.